back to the channel, guys. In this video, we're talking about RGB switches, how to wire them up. I'm going to show you a hack on one way to wire them depending on your needs for the specific circuit that you're working with. All right, so stay tuned. This may help you out. I've covered so much on this build, guys, and we're getting so close to completion of this car. All right, it's a very exciting time. Let me put some light on for you guys. You can see I got my wiring stuff out. Guys, I am in the middle, literally, of I'm having an OCD episode here. All right. Don't worry about all this mess. It's starting to clean up a little bit like this. If you're unfamiliar with this project, this is my 1989 Mustang GT that I've restored from the ground up. It's got a bunch of performance mods, everything custom for me. There was nothing out there that appealed to me when it came to buying a replacement wiring harness for this car. So I decided to wire this car from scratch. All right, chicaning all the old Ford stuff and basically just going with GXL wire, Deutsch connectors, some weather packs. I am a paranoid schizophrenic when it comes to wiring, so I try to do it as a good job as possible. This way I don't want to have any problems in the future. And the way I'm doing this car, when the entire car is put together, the electronics, nothing will be hidden, everything will be exposed. I want you to see the work. I want you to see how I did it. So like when you open up the doors, all right, everything's mounted on these bow tie style door bars, all right? Everything will be mounted here, and the same for the other side, all right? So I'm gonna get the Holley there, the main fuse for it, and I'll have a nice relay board. The fuse panel will be on that side with another relay board. So everything's kind of coming together. I'm almost there. I'm just waiting. I'm still waiting on parts, guys. So slowly but surely. But in the interim, what I started doing was I'm wiring up the dashboard right now, okay? So this is only the engine management as of right now. So this right here is for my fuel gauge. I got one for the speedo. This one's for the tachometer, and this one's for the Holley. So I basically cut the plug on the Holley. I basically cut it and was able to put a Deutsch connector on there. I think it's like, this is like 22 or 26 gauge wire. It's real small, kind of tough to work with. But anyway, we got that squared away. I got some bus bars mounted up there. And now I'm to the point where I'm setting up my basic switches and my toys that are going to run this car. So basically, without the gauge cluster, this is how we're looking. So I got my tack, I got my Holley screen mounted, molded, everything nice to the dash. All right. And now this is what we're looking at here, guys. We're looking at these buttons. They're custom billet buttons. Company online, really, really nice switches, guys. All right, very clicky. And they are RGB, okay? So red, green, and blue. All right, so my start, got my main power. I'll have ignition as well, but you know, with this car, being that everything, the way I'm wiring it, I'm gonna have the ignition switch, key on, and then you'll have to come to the main power and turn this power on to power up the EFI system. This way I can be sitting there with the key on and I have power to the body harness, and I don't gotta be running the fuel pump and the Holley and all that stuff. It's just my preference, all right? So we got our fan override, so in case I wanna throw the fan on, I got the two-step and my line lock. With the Holley EFI, the two-step's more like a square dance. It's not really a two-step, but it'll do for now, okay? So, what's the point of this? The point is this. The custom billet buttons switches are really nice switches. Compared to anything that you're going to find, say, on Amazon or anything that kind of resembles a stainless steel switch in that manner, or just a push button switch, 12 volt, 24 volt system, they're very nice. For the money, you're not going to find a nicer switch. Moving up from here, you're going to look at, like, say, Bokatech, all right? Bokatech switches, you're talking they're $100 a piece. These are like 20 bucks a piece. If we were dealing with a Bokatech, they give you options as far as multiple functions. So you can have a triple position push button switch, you know, on again, and then off. So there's all different options out there. This happens to be good for me, basic enough. But we're gonna have to do a little workaround because these switches only throw a ground, okay? This is the main point of this. These switches do need to be wired to a relay because they can only hold at 3 to 5 amps, okay? That's plenty good for triggering a relay. However, again, I'll say this, these switches only trigger the ground side of a relay. Got it? Okay, moving forward. In order to work this out, we're going to add an additional relay, and I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? In order to bypass the fan circuit or the fan relay, I need to trip a ground side of the relay. All right? So, we're not talking about this circuit. The two-step doesn't need a relay. It just needs to see power back to the Holley, 12 volts, in order to trip the two-step. But in order to activate the LED that's in here from red, so I know, like, if I'm sitting there, it's off when it's red. The whole thing's going to be lit up red. If I activate my two-step, I want it to change color. In order to do that, we're going to have to install a separate relay for the RGB side of the switch in order for it to switch from red to green. The reason why is because the RGB circuit is polarity sensitive. So you're giving it the 12 volts, but it's not completing the ground circuit unless you give it the ground, okay, to light the switch up. Therefore, we have to add ground, all right? So the two-step, it's got to send a 12 volt signal back to the Holley. The line lock has to send a 12 volt signal to the relay. Main power, 12 volt signal to the relay, and the start 12 volt signal. So the only one that's got to send a negative signal back is the fan, all right? So let me show you what we're talking about. Normally, the wiring diagram, as soon as I saw it, I went, uh-oh, it's only for the ground. Which, what they want is, there's this white wire here, okay? So this white wire is going to be the main, the power going in. So that power going in is the power to light up your LEDs, all right? So you got the power in, and say you want the red LED to light up, you got to put ground to the red wire, all right? So this red wire has nothing to do with power, okay? So you got RGB, red, green, and blue. I got my little test battery set up. I got the ground lead going to the red. I got the power lead going to the white. And here we are, we're lit up, okay? We're lit up red. Now, here's the interesting part. Okay, now, I take some jumpers and I went from the purple to the orange. Okay, so purple and orange, this is going to be the actual switched circuit with built into the switch. All right, so I'm just jumped them over to my ohm meter. All right, I cycle the switch. There you go. All right, it's completing the circuit. So what we need to do is when we activate the switch, we need to get ground to either the green, the blue, or a combination of both. So what we need to do is we need to switch the ground circuit from the red wire to one of these two wires, if not a combination of both. Or you can arrange this however you want. If you want it to be the default is blue, you can set that up as that, whatever the case is. In a normal situation, the way this switch is designed, you have, don't mind the label here. So this is the negative side, all right? Just disregard that. So we got ground right to the battery on the ground side, going up into the switched side of the circuit of the switch. Coming out of that is ground, okay? So this would be going to the negative side of the relay to trip the relay, because your relay, wherever that lives, it's going to probably have a fused lead going to the positive side of the trigger on the relay already. So all you need to do is give it ground to trip the relay. So when you do that, the switch is tripping the ground between the purple and the orange. So being that the LED is sensitive to the polarity, when you activate the switch, it changes color. Okay? Simple. The problem lies when you don't have the option of triggering your relay with a ground. In my case, I have 3 relays that I need to trip or trigger with a positive signal, okay? But at the same time, I want my lights to change color on the switches, just like all the other switches, okay? So this is how we're gonna work around that. Instead of relying on the built-in internal parts of the switch triggering the ground in order to make the lights work, we're going to trick this externally by adding an additional relay in line. The thing is, these things are so small, they're only, I mean, what are they? They're drawing milliamps, so you don't need a very heavy duty relay. You need like computer sized relays, you know, real small. So back in the day, you know, you used to be able to go to Radio Shack. I guess Amazon and eBay is now the new Radio Shack. I was able to locate some real small 12 volt relays. I think these things trip like 3 amps. There's a 4 relay board, very tiny, very cheap, like maybe 8 or 10 bucks, something like that. All right, but this one happened to be, when I got it, it's open in the back. So I was like, that's kind of sucks. So I dug a little deeper because I didn't want to sit there and have to build a box and all that other stuff. So I dug a little deeper, and for like, I think 15 bucks, I got this one. It's the same exact board, except it comes in a little box. It's got a little mount on it. It's 12 volts. All right, beautiful. I think it was like 15 bucks. All right. Now the only thing sketchy about this whole setup is the brand, Ono, because Ono is the last thing that I want to hear when I'm in the middle of wiring something. But I don't know. Probably the name. I don't know what it means. All right. But anyway. Real simple. So this is just a 4 relay panel. All right. So you got your inputs 1 through 4. All right. Then you got your outputs and your triggers. Now, this thing lights up. It's really cool. It'll let you know when you're triggered. It'll give you this light once the relay is tripped. It gives you the power and all that. So it's actually pretty awesome. You know, for this application, it's going to work just fine. I had to put you on the tripod because I can't do this by hand here, guys. So we have the input side. This is input number 1. We're working with NC1, C1, and NO1. All right. We got power going in, and we got battery ground. So this box has power and ground already going through it through internal circuitry. All right. It's already given us those circuits that we need, so we don't have to run them individually. Okay, which makes it nice. Now, this is going to the positive side of the battery. This is the negative side. So we give it power. We're switching here, okay? Now, NO1 and NC1, okay? Here's what happens, guys. Right now, I got ground, okay, on NC1. That means when I ground that red wire on the switch, I'm going to have a red light come on. When I toggle the relay, red light goes out. But when I go to NO1, look at that, ground. So we're switching the grounds. Okay? Easy peasy, guys. With my test light, boom, I got power. All right, I got power in to the switch, and I got power outbound. So when I cycle the switch, power, that's what I want. I want to send power back to the relay for this particular circuit that's going to trip the relay and do what I want the function of that relay to do. Okay? But like I said, we want it to switch colors, so from here, if you see, so we got power in now. This wire, the power out, is going to go out to the relay. And I've tapped also here to this relay box to control the LED. This is your input side, the trigger side. Outbound to that, all right, we have the ground going up to the red wire because that's the one we want lit up first. Well, that's the one I want lit up first. You can do whichever one you want. Okay? And then on the other side of that, we have the other ground that this relay is going to throw. So this relay is throwing the grounds, and I've tied the green and the blue together. All right? When I do that, Now I'm getting this teal color. When I disconnect the blue and just put the green, look how fancy. Boom, green. If I do just the blue, I get blue. I put them together, I get like a teal color. Fancy. But this is going to apply to all these kinds of switches, guys. There's a lot of them out there that don't come with any instructions. So you buy the thing, you get it, you think you're hooking it up right, next thing you know you can smoke it. Because it doesn't take much to smoke these switches, all right? The last one is the fan. That one's specific to wiring this without the relay. It has nothing to do with the relays there, okay? So these are all hooked up. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 channels there. Now, the way this fan is set up, here's my ground going into the switch. Ground going into the switch to trip the outbound ground to the relay. All right, notice I got the blue wire attached to that. Now, when the switch is open, meaning not depressed, okay, the yellow shares the same path as the purple, right? But as soon as you depress the switch and close it, it closes that, it opens that circuit. So it isolates that circuit. Therefore, when you press it, it cancels the red out. All right, if I hook them up together and I press it, I'm going to get a combination of the blue and the red, which gives me the purple. A little bit of work for a cool effect, but it's worth it in the end. You know, it's little stuff like this, guys, that when you take the time to do this type of detail work, it really adds to the quality of your build, you know? So just a little bit of time, a little bit of thought, and, you know, just get it done. Like I said, there's no rush at this point. It is what it is. So what I'll do now is I'm going to wire everything up, and then I'll have one Deutsch connector, like a nice fat 12-pin Deutsch connector, or whatever, how many pins they are, maybe 2. This way I can go in and out of the car with this whole bezel, along with the other Deutsches I have set up for the Holly Dash and the Monster Tag. All right, so it'll be a couple of plugs, pop, 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 in and out of the car, just like OEM. Because I don't like to be messing around with these connections here, because these pins on here are very small, very sensitive, and the less you mess with them, the better. If you're going to do this type of work, you need to prepare yourself for it. It's something as basic as the dashboard. You see, this whole thing has to be removable in 2 sections. The gauge cluster has to come out, and then the bezel has to come out. All right, everything's on Deutsches. I'm using aviation grade instrumentation wire. Solid pins on all the terminals. It is what it is, guys. Part of the madness. You know, Randy over at Leash came through on this one. This is about the most high-end relay board you're going to find on the market right now, guys. All right, he hand makes them. The frame is billet aluminum. It's been powder coated. He pots it with epoxy. I mean, this is real good stuff, guys. Japanese relays. The way I'm wiring this up also is super efficient. And you'll see once I get the fuse panel in and how I connect all the relays and everything like that. The troubleshooting on this is going to be so easy. Every circuit is broken down individually. There's nothing going to be ran all together and cluster fucked together. It's not like that. Okay? So it looks like a mess because this is what it is, you know? It is what it is. You know, when you look at a factory harness, there's a lot of stuff. building one to get everything working properly, it's a lot of wire, you know? One circuit at a time. That's it. That's what it comes down to. But remember, 10 steps ahead. You need to plan them out, draw them if you have to, mount everything up, make sure you have everything in position, know where you want. Like, I had to modify the hell out of the this cluster from Florida 5.0 just to get these switches here, you know? No rubbing action. You know, this isn't a place where really anything goes other than, I think, the dummy lights and like I think the dimmer switch, right? If I can remember correctly. I don't know, it's been so long since I've seen one of these stock ones. I gotta work on this mess and this mess. So I'll be busy with that for a minute. It's a lot, guys. Here's a real fast look at how I did the ECU wiring harness, guys. I'm going to button it up here in a second. I'm ready to loom it and all that, but just to give you an idea, yeah, we try to keep it nice and clean, like wire porn style. The cleaner you keep it, the better. You notice I got everything labeled there. And then what I'm going to come in and do is I'm going to label the fuse box. Guys, this doesn't happen quickly. I got a couple of videos out there on how to do wiring. To sit there and explain how you go about just being neat about it, that's something that you got to find within yourself. Like, there's no rules when it comes to stuff like this, just like everything else in the custom world. But what I like to do, my mindset when I'm wiring, I make sure that I go over and above, make sure my connections are good, make sure they're sealed, okay? Make sure my wires aren't being chafed anywhere. Even as I'm working with the new wire, I'm looking at it. I'm making sure that, you know, there's no manufacturing defects in it or anything like that. Paying attention to every single thing, because electrical stuff can get sideways on you real quick, and all it takes is one mistake could lead you to an endless amount of time trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I've been wiring vehicles, 12 volt DC systems for 25 years, okay? I don't do it all the time, but I do it here and there. The first car I wired, I was like 17 years old. It was a 68 Camaro. I used a painless wiring harness on that one, a painful one. There's a lot of products out there. There's a lot of pre-manufactured wiring harnesses, but there's nothing out there that's going to compare to making one from scratch, custom to your build and how you want it, okay? Sometimes it's even harder to deal with one of those harnesses because it's already pre-made. Like, even on the Holley Terminator system, in my case, it would have been just a lot easier if I bought an unterminated harness and just did it from scratch. Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of give and take when it comes to this stuff, so just keep that in mind. Have a plan, you know? Write it down, make your diagrams, know what functions you want out of your electrical system, and know what kind of feedback you want to be able to get from your electrical system. Like, guys, the buttons changing colors tell me a lot of things. Like, even with the fan, for instance, if my fan is not on and I click the button turns blue. But yet, if I don't do anything and the Holley triggers the fan on at the predetermined temperature, the button will turn purple. So I know that fan 2 came on because the Holley told it to. It's little things like that that I can't describe to you how much time and thought goes into building an electrical system like this. Again, it's little things. The more you think of it and the more you want it to be custom and be yours, you can do it. You just got to think about what you're doing and then figure out, how am I going to get there? What can I do to get from this point to that point? All right? And then you find your way through whatever circuitry you design. All right? That's the best advice I can give you. through some creative stuff I'm not going to show you. But you can do a security system very easily. The same way I showed you that 4 relay, the micro relay box, combined with a timed relay. You can do some very creative things when it comes to setting up a custom security system for your car, as far as it being able to start. Alright guys, I'm about to button up the dash for the last time here. It's all wired up. See, you got a lot of Deutsches here. Alright, these are for the switches, the tack, the Holley, the little indicator lights, fuel gauge, speedo. It's all the AEM stuff. It's a lot of shit. Way down there is for the Italian. So you can see those bus bars are pretty full. If you're gonna do some wiring, I mean, here you go. This is kind of, it looks like a mess, but it's an organized mess. All right, as long as you keep it organized and you know what's up, then you're good to go. So I've already diagrammed all this. I put it on paper, and I'll always keep that. I'll laminate it nice and keep it with all the documents for the car in case you ever got to refer back, because I'll never remember what the hell I did over here, you know. So there you go. She's going in now. Then what I'll do after all this is done, I'll clean up real good, and then I got to get working on this side, but I'm still waiting for parts. All right, so there's my blank canvas. There's all the outputs for the whole car. Everything's wired already. Oh, take a look. That's how my door sill rigging tube cover turned out. I got to I'm going to clear coat it and all that and finish it, but it's all fit up for now. That's how that works. So there you go. So like all that wire and everything in there, guys, I don't want anybody stepping on it, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I went ahead and did these things. These are, I really like how they came out, you know. Guys, if you guys are interested in something like that, I mean, I've thought about it long and hard to see maybe, you know, if you want something made like that, I can make them. I have the molds, and I can always cut you a rough shape. But if I do make them for you, you'd have to fit them yourself. It's going to be some sanding and stuff like that. It's not going to be an out of the box bolt-in product. I don't know, if you want something like that, I could probably cut you something close. It's not going to be cheap. But if you're in dire need, hit me up. I'd probably be willing to make something for you, especially now that I'm slowing down a little bit with this project. Let me know. Instruments. We got a fuse box. We got the Holley. Oh yeah. So guys, here's something I wired in. So when the Holley triggers the secondary fan, the switch turns purple, so I know when my second fan is on, right? But if I click it manually, it turns blue, you see? So right now it's going to stay purple until the Holley shuts it off, and it'll go red. You know, line lock, you know, that'll be armed. But like, say for instance my two-step, I'll arm it, but it won't go on the two-step until I hit the clutch pedal. So you'll see, like, so I know exactly, see, like it engages right there. So I'm about mid pedal right now. So that tells me I know that my two-step's activated or not. So I played a little game, the way I wired this up, just so I can get as much feedback as I can from the car. I love the way the Holley screen turned out. I really didn't know what I was going to do with that, but it happened to work out real good. So Again, those are custom billet buttons. Also, right there, the indicator dummy lights, I guess you call them, idiot lights. This worked out super cool, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want to see how I integrated the taillights on this car, throw it in there. Maybe I'll do a video on that, okay? If this video helped you out at all, please like, please subscribe, please share it. If you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram. Well, I'll do the best I can to help you out there. That's pretty much it, guys, all right? So until the next one, peace!